Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blades and Banter podcast. I'm once again joined by my fantastic co-hosts, Clayton Gates and Alexa Leach. Guys, how are we doing? Alexa, you're back
I'm
from the
back.
Goonies. Clayton and I low-key dissed you like kind of hard that you lived in the middle of nowhere
It
last episode, and people were like, where is Alexa? And I said, I don't know, but she might be like on the side of the road in like Ontario, like
mhm.
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm
Hitchhiking.
back. Probably, yeah, I missed you guys. Like the first 10 minutes made me laugh last time. I was like visiting my parents and like my sister and my little baby niece in like southwestern Ontario, like Lake Erie, if people know where that is. Well, Lake Erie, I would assume, but
I mean, I
yeah,
think people know where
I
that,
know, but like southwestern Ontario, like small town,
but
not
some
much
people
happening.
might not know government terms, so that's okay too. That's a conversation we had off
Yeah.
before we started, but so okay, before we start, I just everyone please hit that subscribe, like button, and comment too. Comment below
hmm
like where you're listening from, how's it going? What do you think of the World Team Trophy? Because we're gonna get into it.
hmm
But I wanted to give you two the floor first because we had some people asking if you guys could explain kind of like your involvement in skating, how you got involved into it, and what your purpose is in the sport and all that. Because I know some people are like, who is Clayton Gates? Who's Alexa Leach? Like, who are they? So,
And I
yeah,
don't
you
blame
two
them
have
for
the floor.
asking.
Yeah.
Alexa, you go first, ladies first.
Okay. So yeah, in terms of things, like not much, but that's a
Oh,
good
Alexa
reminder.
went off.
My
Forgot
Alexa just went off. Let me go
yeah,
unplug that real quick.
yeah. Well, I said doing that. So I grew up skating, like most like small town Southwestern Ontario kids in Canada. I was put in skating at 2 because you put your kid either in like hockey or skating. And then I did that for about 20 years. And I competed in university, which was like a really great experience. I'd recommend it to anybody in like Ontario through OUA, which is Ontario University Athletics, which would be kind of like similar to NCAA in the States. And I know in the States, they also do like intercollegiate skating. So that was a super fun way to like meet people, still continue skating after high school. And then I've just kind of been a fan for as long as I can remember. I think like my earliest memory was like 2009 Worlds in LA watching Joanna Rochette get second. So always just been a big fan of the sport. And even after I stopped skating, I'm like deep in the trenches watching. So that's kind of my little background on skating.
That's great. That was super nice.
My story is a lot less cool. I'm just a super fan. I think I remember like watching Purposefully for the first time, like 2014 Olympics. I think I was like on vacation, like in Tennessee or something with my parents. Um, and were flipping through the channels, like watching the Olympics, and I saw Yulia Lipnitskaya, and I was just like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" Like her flexibility, the spins, and like the home crowd getting behind her. I was like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life." It was her team event performance, by the way, not her free where she
Not the,
bombed.
Not the long.
Um, and so then didn't really know how to keep up with it after that. Caught myself like later flipping through channels. The next Olympic cycle, I caught U.S. Nationals. Fell in love with Ashley Wagner. Love that girl.
queen,
Still love her to this
queen.
day. I was pissed for her at Nationals. I thought she was robbed. I thought she'd been named to the Olympic team. And then I kind of watched the Olympics from there. Really got into like Medvedeva, and the Zagitova rivalry, and went down a rabbit hole from there. And I
Here
now
you
I'm
are
obsessed.
today.
And now here I am today on Blades and
Yeah.
Banter.
Yeah. Well, we had a couple different before we get jump right into World Team Trophy, we had some soft little headlines that kind of like snuck their way like into the news. The Swiss Olympic team was pretty much named.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it goes in terms of like their performances they've shown throughout the past couple of years. I mean, Lucas Bertschke is an Olympic, or sorry, European gold medalist. Kimi Rapond has shown very good performances. She is also a European bronze medalist. and has done pretty well this past season, 5th at Worlds last year, 12th this year. And her countrymate, Liv Kaiser, also getting that second spot in the women. So the two of them will be named, pretty much named, I think, barring any disaster in the fall, and then Lucas as well. So that's interesting to see that they've kind of already named their team. It makes sense because, there's not really anyone that's going to be rivaling them. So yeah, and then also in Japan, this is kind of easing the way into, I think we can kind of combine the next two headlines together because they're kind of the same thing, but the little bit of a Russian soft launch at World Team Trophy and at the Legacy on Ice show that's going on also. Anyone want to take the jump at any? What were your initial thoughts?
I gotta say something. For the Legacy on Ice, they announced Sherbakova and Zagitova as like partly like headlining the event, and I was like, like, oh my god, why them? And it was like, oh, they are the last two Olympic champions. Like, totally.
You
I was like,
sometimes forget.
you kind of forget, and I just think that kind of shows some stuff. But yeah, interesting that. And then I think, yeah, this is kind of soft launch of Russia. We saw Tuktamisheva at World Team Trophy, and I think it was very strategic by putting Tuktamisheva there. I think she was there with, I don't know if it was Channel One, but
she was with like a co-host or like a co-anchor, like a Terry Gannon type filling. I don't know exactly who the co-host was. It was a woman. I don't remember her name, but they were physically there at the site. Like Tuktamisheva was going around. She was taking photos with Ilia. She's taking videos and photos with Amber. I mean, Cowrie too. I mean, she was definitely there, like interacting with the athletes. I think, I mean, Tuktamisheva is kind of a beloved Russian athlete. I feel like with the Western world, I think we really love her. She has such a great personality and was such an intriguing storyline. She kind of has that like Alyssa Liu type of vibe to her. That I think really suits well with Americans, Canadians, all that stuff. But I think it was a good soft launch because I think they're preparing us for next year when they will be back and in full force, not full force, but we will be feeling, you'll be feeling the aggression and the type of intensity amp up at these events with some of these competitors coming back. And the fans had very mixed opinions. Some were like, why is she here? Like, she shouldn't be here at all. But Russia has been still broadcasting like international events on their television shows, on their channels. So the ISU certainly hasn't stopped selling the rights for them to broadcast those. So I definitely wouldn't understand why they would block them from being able to have a commentator there. I think it's just kind of, they've already been doing it. And it seems like the ISU really hasn't taken any certain, like a firm stance on completely eliminating Russia from any sort of involvement in the organization. I mean, they have the Congress members are still there at all the events over the past couple of years. Lekurnik has been at different events as like a honored guest. So I mean, it's not like they haven't really cut ties in any way. And I wasn't really shocked when we saw her there. And I think it was kind of not really like a big storyline for me. I was like, oh, she's there commentating. But the other thing was Zagitova and Sherbakova at the shows. Did you guys have any, or will be at the shows, but did you guys have any thoughts about that?
Well, kind of back to your other point, like the ISU is doing themselves a disservice if they block, rights to Russia. If Russia is like the second most, if not the most or largest consumer of like the figure skating as a sport, like they're only losing money by not having them come and like commentate and like get views and all that good stuff. And so the same things goes with shows. Like I think having Zagitova and Sherbakova back in shows like that kind of draws interest, whether it be a shady side
Positive
eye
or negative,
or a really excited to see them back. Like that's gonna draw people back either way. So I think it's interesting. I think the keyword here, I think it's funny that it's like legacy on ice, and then we have Tatiana Tarasova saying, "Oh, what will Zagitova be known for outside of her one win at the Olympics?"
Yeah.
And so which is like a little shady, but I think that's funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think overall it's like strategic. Like again, with putting Tuktamisheva there, someone who is like of the Russian skaters, she is loved. Like even like the skaters were like Amber was like, oh my god, like Tuktamisheva like said that about like my triple axel. Like she is a very, I think we often see her in like not in the same way representing like the Atari girls and like that really stark
She's a
contrast.
different, she's an
Totally.
old money type of Russian
Yes.
skating.
Yes. So I think it is like from their perspective, like their way of like how do we kind of slowly introduce it back without like the most amount of backlash because there will be like some either way.
Yeah.
I will say with like the ISU, like it seems like in terms of like having Russia a part of it, it's very much like they're doing everything except for what's like explicitly written in terms of like, you know, no Russians competing, but you know, athletes can be Russian, represent Georgia or
Different
Azerbaijan or
country. Yeah.
whatever. They can train in Russia. The coaches who are Russian and have been tied to like doping, like are still going to be at those competitions. ISU
Yeah.
members, like all of these things. Like I feel even with streaming, you know, selling, you know, whatever Russian channels the rights, like I'm sure from their like perspective and a business perspective, it's like, well, they're probably going to find a way to stream it anyways. We might as well be making money off of it. Not saying
Yeah.
I think we all say like we don't maybe agree with all of this,
No,
but this is what's
yes.
happening.
None of us, I was going to say
Yeah.
two things after you were finished,
Mhm.
but one, the three of us on this panel are not in any way supportive of the situation at hand and what's going on with the war of Ukraine and Russia. But I was also going to say that I do understand why fans were upset because of what is going on there currently this week,
Mhm.
where you saw there was another rink, another city bombed again. I think maybe like a day or two before the event had happened, and then like a day before Zagitova and Sherbakova were announced to be going, and you know, Zagitova has ties to the government that are a little bit suspect in terms of her allegiance and what she believes as a person. Sherbakova much cleaner on the record because she hasn't really ever spoken against or about the war and much of that. So she's much more of a savvy
Yeah.
individual than
I
Zagitova.
I do think too with like having Sherbakova and Zagitova there, I feel like that also says something about in terms of like the state in Russia and like they do these shows to make a living and to make money. So I feel like that could also be like a conversation in terms of like why are they going there to make money? Are things maybe not like, you know, the shows are very internal in Russia right now, obviously, stuff's still going on, but to
And they
go out
mainly
and
go to China too, to do a lot of shows
exactly.
there.
So yeah, it's a very interesting situation happening and it'll be very interesting to see, you know, how Russia's back next year. Obviously, it will just be for the qualifying event in Russia or sorry, in China, and then the Olympics. But
we'll see. I
we'll
wonder
see.
if that will actually pan out. There'll be information coming out obviously this summer about the full context of that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're allowed to compete at other events though. I just don't think the ISU will do the right thing. But that's also not currently like the statement, or currently the sentiment, or not sentiment, but currently what's happening right now. But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Yeah. So moving on to the World Team Trophy.
Well, you know who
Where do you
else is
guys?
going to be at Legacy on Ice? Sorry to jump in. Is
Okay.
Fournier, Boudry, and Cizeron,
Oh, I thought you
who
were
I
gonna say
think that like
Sorensen, and I was
Ziggy.
like,
Oh no.
I was like,
And like so
I have to get used to their new name, like the new names for
right.
teams now.
So I think that like the Russian comeback for this show is kind of also overshadowing a little bit that they're going to be at this show again. Keyword legacy on ice. Yes, Cizeron has his legacy, and they have legacies, I guess, separately from each other. But this is a new team, and I think that they're conveniently kind of like sliding in underneath the other headlines. I don't know. Some people have thoughts. I've seen on Reddit people have thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Cicerone's very popular in Japan, so his name will definitely carry a lot of weight to get people into the seats there. So, um, I will be watching to see how they skate. I think a lot of people will be watching to see kind of how they look. And again, it'll be in May or in the next couple of weeks. So, very early, but we're already gonna start ranking them to see where they will fit in with all these dance teams. And I don't know if you want to just jump right into the dance event here, but
Let's go right into it.
what did we say would be the results for the dance, and what happened with the results of the dance?
Well, pretty much exactly what you guys said, but I will say in the free dance, like there was
One change.
and I will say, you know, Devil works hard, Terry works harder. She is like the Kris Jenner of figure skating. You know, Deanna beat the French. We've kind of seen the French team at Worlds. They got dropped quite a bit since the announcement of Cicerone returning. And I got
dropped a lot.
They did. And I was like, I was watching them today, I got to admit, for the first time. Like,
you didn't watch them at Worlds?
I mean, it's at like 4 a.m. It's Easter. I'm good. We kind of knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was like, they didn't skate. Like the French didn't. I was like, oh, maybe there was a mistake. No, like it was levels. They were like,
they really hit them with the levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I have a couple things noted down. I thought that their one footstep sequence kind of looked very labored on a lot of the turns. It kind of looked like when John Luke was talking about Alyssa and Gracie kind of muscling the turns, it did feel a little bit muscled between the two of them. They do, in my opinion, have the best choreo character step of the season, the wall-to-wall choreography. It's kind of like on the little like techno beat of the music and the free dance at the end. I do wonder, since they've kind of moved from I am or at part-time I wonder if that is affecting their political push. You know, they were with I am full-time the fall, made it to the Grand Prix final.
They were second at Euros. They beat Lila and Lewis.
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were. Yeah. Yeah, second at that was their first competition after they had switched. But I just don't understand how they've fallen. I get it. Like, I totally understand how they've fallen, but I wonder why France dropped them before Worlds. Why not keep them going at Worlds and then drop them after? Like, drop them next season. You keep the momentum for the team throughout this season, and then you give them the drop the next season, and they're like, what's going on? You know, like,
maybe their thought process is like, oh, if we place them really high at Worlds, maybe they'll feel even more entitled isn't the word, maybe more expecting of better treatment going into the next season if they had a higher placement at Worlds. And so maybe they were just kind of like, let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off now.
Yeah. Like make it a bit of an easier transition to be like demoted.
Yeah. Something of that.
And they'll definitely match up early with Cicerone. Normally the French Masters is every year early in like August. So normally all the teams will go and do that. All the dancers, the pairs, the men and women will go. So we'll probably see them early in the season going up against each other, and that will be very telling of how this will go for them.
And France is the first Grand Prix event too, which is like shaking stuff up. So I'm sure we'll see it there too.
I wonder which Grand Prix they'll all be at.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for Cicerone because they won't have the team standing points in order to be invited, but they'll get the guest or the home like an invitation.
Turning world and Olympic medalist. I wonder, because Alyssa Liu was able to come back and get her Grand Prix because she was a returning world medalist. So I wonder, I think he might be able to get them spots.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure how it works. I think like a new pairing. Oh yeah.
I have no doubt that they will get a spot wherever they need to go. If anyone knows like how it will work, feel free to leave us a comment below.
Let us know. But listen, fake sport.
We're not all like privy
No. But speaking of another team that's been dropped, the Italians.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh gosh. Like 121 in the free. They were not
Four
happy.
judges. Four judges put them fourth.
Wow. I didn't
Yeah.
notice that. I think, well, obviously the material didn't help them this season, I don't think. I've already harped on that. I can drag that dead horse out and beat it again, but
Can I offer a contrarian opinion today? I
okay.
thought it was the best that they've performed the robot program all year. I thought it was actually well skated, and they had a power that was visibly missing from earlier in the year. And sometimes I do randomly like my Italian team. Like last year, I loved their rhythm dance. This year, I didn't like either one of the programs, but I actually was like kind of behind the robot program a little bit. And I was like, you know, Barbara, you might have gotten totally dropped here, but I totally respect what you were doing, and you were a little bit robbed. I thought they skated well. They were very powerful. They had great amplitude in their skating. It was nice.
Mhm.
There was more like freedom, and maybe that was because they've been feeling this kind of decline, and they're like, F it,
They're like, screw it, let's
They
go.
have
Let's
nothing to
Let's go
lose,
for it.
yeah.
like it's our last time doing it. They have talked about like the program not being as well recepted as maybe they'd hoped, but I do think that given obviously the programs this season, anything they do next season is going to
It's a step
is
up.
going to be
That's a
great
step
in
up.
comparison. So
A
like,
step up.
And don't you think they're gonna do some like classical,
super
like
Italian.
Yeah,
super Italian, like
Super Italian.
opera,
Yeah.
something classical. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be very beautiful music. Like
Mhm.
they'll skate very well.
Right.
People will love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. They are
I-
such powerful skaters and complement each other
Totally.
so well. Like that, the material is like their only hindrance because it's like they have the best skating skills in the world. It's so good.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
Two teams that I would argue don't have the best skating skills in the world, but somehow get the highest scores all the time. Gillis and Poirier and Chalk and Bates. The two of them, I feel like we could clump them together because they were very evenly scored.
Mhm.
I think they both got season's bests here. In the
Yeah, I mean, everyone
free.
gets a season's best except
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
still a
Italian.
trophy.
You get a
Yeah.
season's best.
Yeah,
and you get a
like-
season's best. If you look under your chair right now, you have a
Right.
season's best.
Do you have a lot to say about this? Like, I think they went out and skated again. Like, once again, it's like Chalk and Bates won, Gillis and Poirier two, scores pretty close, like performance is very similar.
Nobody fell. That was
No one
a win
fell.
for both teams. Like, yeah, I'm, for dance, I'm
Dance
ready.
is like,
I'm ready
yeah.
for next season. I'm ready to like
Mhm.
I'm
get rid
ready
of
to
these
turn the page on
programs.
these people.
Yeah, yeah. And
Like
I'm ready to see
The
whatever
dance
god
team's
awful.
post-Olympic cycle is going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
So interesting.
yeah.
We're gonna probably have some really rough rhythm dances next season.
It could have been they wanted it to be the 2000s, which I could have gotten behind, but now it's like, what is it now next year? Like,
90s.
oh my God,
Yeah.
the same music again. Like,
Yeah.
In a different font, yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
same like Lila Fear could recycle the same costume again. Like, we'll get another similar cut of music. Like,
Barbara's gonna
Might
bring
get
out the
like-
felt for the Italians again.
Yeah. Might get like 20 cuts of music.
I'm over dance.
Me too. I'm ready. I'm ready for
sorry.
like
Sorry to
a
any dance
refresh.
fans, but it's been really tough to watch.
I just want something exciting, and like, I hope that like Olympic season tends to bring out the best in people. So I hope that like maybe because the last quad, like the programs have just been kind of meh, that I hope that like maybe they've been saving it for this season, and like a lot of these teams may be going out with a bang, and like I'm assuming like last competitive season. So
What would be interesting?
what?
If we saw more Tessa Virtue next year.
Oh, we love
That
her.
would make
What
it
if
more
she came back
interesting.
with a new partner?
She could come back with her husband. He's in the playoffs right
Yep.
now.
I would like to
a
see
little
her on
babe.
the ice again. Guillaume's back. Why not Tessa?
Exactly.
Listen,
And think
she's
about
like,
the Netflix documentary that we would have
Oh,
of her
there's
coming
gonna
back
be some
with.
Netflix
yeah,
documentaries coming
there's
out
some rumor
soon.
mills about
We
that,
Mm,
which
heard some
like,
rumors from people that, um, I mean, like, do we want to say, some of the dancers will be getting some. There will be a pair team that will be getting one too, from what we heard from people.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
mhm.
Well, we're not saying who,
No, but
so
it could like, and I think that'll be interesting. Like, I could see it as kind of like with the Simone Biles rising. Obviously, that was centered around her, but like the F1, like
one
why
will be
have
on Netflix and one will be on the Olympic channel. So
allegedly. Don't quote us, but
allegedly.
um,
That's what we heard. It could be
yes,
wrong, but that's what we heard.
it'd be exciting, and
Um,
like it's always good getting in new fans and getting that momentum behind teams going into the
Mhm.
games. And
I'm really excited for that Netflix
me
documentary.
too. I'm excited,
Like,
and
I
like
think
that's also like
that
that's great
will
for
be
the
good.
skaters too, especially like
Mhm.
thinking
Yeah.
about their lives post skating. And like I think so much of this
Mhm.
year too, I think we see it a lot at the Olympics of people fall in love with athletes, and it's not always the people you're expecting. Like I was thinking about this today, the summer games with gymnastics, like Steven Ederosik, the pommel horse
Mhm.
guy, like somebody who maybe you wouldn't think of, like totally going viral and having these moments, and like that's carried him through like Dancing with the Stars and these other big TV things. Like having as much exposure as possible for these athletes heading into the games and then at the games, like that is huge in terms of building a career post skating, and just in terms of with social media. So I think this is a great opportunity for athletes, and like get that check, get what
Get
you
your money,
can, like get
get
it.
your
It's
Yep.
like,
fame.
Yep.
yeah,
Alyssa Liu, can we get her on the show too?
oh
Like,
my
That's
God.
exactly what
she
I
should
was
be on
gonna
that
say
show.
next.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Ilia
which,
should be on one. Are we going to
Yes.
transition to the women? Are we just doing the women now?
let's do it.
Sure. All right, let's jump into the women. All right. So, where do you want to start? Because some of these women, like, actually, shout out to the second Georgian girl, Alina Urshade.
Yes.
Mamma mia, like, good for you.
Had a little fun moment.
It was
She
Like
had
had
like
fun.
iconic skate.
yes. And you know what? Go out
She
there
had
with your
the
doubles.
green wave. Like, I
Yes.
love it.
And you know what? Like her and like Maurice too, like, listen, whatever.
They
It
weren't
is what it
gonna,
is.
they weren't gonna,
No, but like I also don't know how soon they found, like how recently they found out.
Yeah.
And like to be
Mhm.
like, hey, you got to come compete, do a full long program. Like short program's one thing, but to do a free skate, like I'd be gassed.
Mamma mia.
Here I go again.
I mean, it was
Like
great.
here, like you might get 15K because that's what Georgia would have, like individual. I did the math, but
Yeah,
like here,
yeah.
come do a free skate, like do your program, get 15K.
Have a
I
free trip to
Why would
Japan.
you say no?
totally,
Right.
I do it. I do. Why not?
Kind of
Like
become an icon on skating Twitter
yeah,
too.
like
People loved her,
Mhm.
like, and as they should.
yeah,
Um,
respect.
okay. Other than that, the French girls we're not gonna like go super in depth. I'm just gonna kind of quick highlight over
Mhm.
them. French girls, Leah Serna was injured or sick, one of the two. Lorraine Shield did fine. Anna Pizzetta struggled, which
Yeah, I
really
think.
we'll get into Laura Naki, but really set
Mhm,
her up to kind of be that one spot.
mhm.
Sarah Maud Dupuis, I know Alexa, you have thoughts.
You know what? Her short program, great. Her spins, like I will say this, if you watch some of her spins, she does some really cool positions and transitions. Like she does this one and it's like a camel into like a catch foot, and then she immediately goes into kind of like a drag spin out, and I'm like, I haven't seen that like some of her things are very innovative, and I think maybe because she's not seen as like a top tier skater, like
Mm.
not as
David
rewarded.
Wilson put in the work.
Totally. And like in the free, like there was some, you know what, like watch her spins, like they're good.
She's a fun skater to watch.
Yeah, like yeah, I feel like you gotta cheer for them. So
Our second Canadian here, someone who we will talk a little more about now, Miss Madeline Schizas.
mhm.
I think overall the season was a plus. A good, I think it was like a B plus. She was much better than last year. The scoring opportunities were higher this year. she put in that second triple Lutz again and did that emergency combination in the free skate.
Which
That was
respect
really impressive. And
totally.
especially the Wally transition into the flip too, and then pulls
Yes.
off the combination. I was like, whoa, that was not my bingo card, and I was really impressed.
I was like, respect to her, because like obviously, you know, going like the Lutz toe tends to be sometimes an issue. Like she'll sometimes pop the Lutz and then
flip.
yeah, and like the
flip's always a double sometimes.
Yeah. And she
Yeah,
does a
the
bit of a
flip
weird
is-
pattern going into it, but like
Very wonky pattern.
but good for her. I was like, I respect. Like that's like that. I think that shows like kind of her grittiness, and
She's a fiery girl.
totally. I will say this. I mean, like the Axels were not her friend, obviously.
No.
During the free.
She had a DM
but
a Stellato
she kinda-
Axel
yeah.
free skate.
Yes. And
yes.
I will say this though, like I noticed when she was coming off the ice, like her self-talk, like the first thing she said was like, I'm a loser, I'm so dumb, like about the Axels. But then she said, I'm really proud of myself for the triple toe. And I was like, okay, like I don't love the negative self-talk there, but like
She's got the highs and the lows.
but she was able to be like, okay, you know what, like I did this, but like I'm proud of myself for that. And her score was like pretty, it was like 124, which was like pretty similar, bit higher than Worlds. And so I think that like I think this summer,
She's
like
building.
and she should really focus on like, you know, being able to stretch things out a bit further, like having some more ice coverage.
I literally have written down needs to put emphasis on basic stroking and back posture over the summer. I will say her crossovers did look very juvenile throughout that free skate. She could definitely work on that, and they've kind of always looked like that. She does kind of have that hunch on the posture throughout, you know, a lot of the crossovers throughout the basic stroking, basic positions.
But I will say, like, when you are like more hunchy, like that's generally because like you're trying to generate more speed. And so like if like by working on the basic skating skills, like stuff like that,
it'll become easier.
Totally. And like she has great spring on her jumps. Like she has really great spring and like
good vault.
Totally. And so I do like I don't see anybody in Canada like I think that spot's pretty much her, barring disaster or if like anybody really comes up. But like I think she's just got to keep building. I will say this, I don't normally watch the gala, but I'd seen some stuff on Twitter of saying like her gala performance is really good, so I watched it, and it's actually the music is by Laufey, who like is the singer for Alyssa's short program. I'm like,
Everyone's love. Having a Laufey moment this year.
I listen to Alyssa's short program music like every night to fall asleep. It's great. Like, and the exhibition was really beautiful. And I'm like,
maybe that'll be the short.
I don't know. Like, I could see maybe being a show program, like Stars on Ice is coming up. But yeah, I would love to see like over the summer and even with like maybe more show skating, because I think she's doing Stars on Ice, like that can like build more. And yeah, I think it was a good building block season for her and generating some more confidence. And I'm excited to see.
Yeah. She's no stranger to turning a show program into a short.
That's very true. No. That's very true. So
I have a technical question about like back to the Axel, especially like the lefty skaters, like Laura Nucky Gutman as well, like really struggle. Ashley Wagner struggled with her Axel a bit. It was always kind of a little labored and like set up for a long time. Is it something about the clockwise rotation, or is it like that makes it harder, or like am I just crazy?
I think for Maddie, she's more of a toe jumper than an edge jumper. She gets good spring on the toe, the Lutz, and the flip. Even the flip, like not her favorite jump, but she gets good height on it. It might just be an uncomfortable thing for her.
I will say with Axel, like it's my least favorite jump, like hated it. But yeah, it is like I will say, like going in forwards does feel unnatural, at least like in my perspective, and like being able to get that snap under pretty quickly. I wasn't a lefty, so I'm not sure like how that works.
I guess like if people with the lefties, I guess with the lefties, they're mostly being coached by like righty skaters. So it's like maybe there's a disconnect there of like, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of it notice like a pattern and I'm
personal
like
preference.
Yeah.
But I mean, Laura also doesn't really get tight on that Axel at all. Like you can see her feet in the air very like this, where they really want to be like this.
A little bit tighter. Yeah.
And she's not even like straight in the torso either. The torso is also kind of like
Can I say
bit a
something
little
about
bit.
Larnaki? I love her.
Well, we're gonna get to yeah,
Oh,
I
we're
love her.
jumping
No,
into her
I'm
right now.
Okay.
We're
I'm
not
ready to
skipping her.
gush
I
about
love
her.
her, but she does do the like Sotskova arm where it's like this. Like she
I
doesn't
don't
like
hate it as much
I
though. But
do.
it's only
I'm
like
like,
one
I
jump.
kind of like
no,
it.
it's not. She does it on quite a few. Like
Only on
She
the
does it on the
triple
toe and the sow.
and the sow.
And the sow.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're gonna
Only
put
on
your arms
like
over your
3
head.
jumps.
Oh, wait, no. And the flip. Oh, and the flip. Yeah.
She like if you're putting your arms over your head.
I don't care.
It's
She's
straighten your
so
elbows.
pretty that I don't care.
She is gorgeous. I was watching
Love.
World Team Trophy with like friends, like casually. I was like, guys, I have to watch this. I have to do a show about it later, so I have to sit down and watch like at the pregame. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, she's so gorgeous watching the free. She's like, she's so beautiful. She looks so Italian. We love her. Like the makeup was everything to them. They loved the
I
dress. And
literally have it
I'm
written down. Her
obsessed.
eyeshadow matches her dress perfectly. Like the
Mm-hmm.
blues, like gorge. She did like
And
a great.
she's-
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
She has that innate ability to know when to show up. This wasn't Worlds, but she showed up here and scored over 200 points, guys.
Yeah.
Laurenaki Gutman, or not Laurenaki, I'm sorry, Anna Pizzetta, I don't think she scored over 200 points. And
Which is a shame because I really love her too. I think that's like I'm torn.
Yeah.
Her jumps are crazy, but she doesn't have the same control on them. Like
Right.
you can have these massive jumps, but if you can't control them, like
The
but
posture on the way out is
yeah, she's
a little
Very
suspect.
little, yeah. But
like a little
I
forward.
mean, she's the front runner for that Olympic team for
Sure,
sure.
Totally.
yeah.
And like I think
And I
building
think-
off. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, you can go.
No, I just think like building off this Squid Game short program, like really quirky and fun. And I think that like when you see that side of people, like it kind of starts to you learn more about who they are. And like I think that she could kind of take that momentum, and I could see her doing something kind of quirky or funky for like a short program again. And I could see that being like a viral moment. Like I could see like,
Yeah.
like some other, I don't know, whether it's like a TV show or movie or something, like I could see it being something where people are like, oh, Squid Game, like that's cool, where you like have people who aren't maybe normal skating fans, but they're like, oh my God. Like I feel like that happened with like Ilia
Something they'll resonate with them.
Totally. Like there's a connection there. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think at this point she's a front runner. Don't get me wrong, next season can be long and like there's a lot going into it.
There's
but
a lot.
Mhm. She has the chance to
And-
capture lightning in a bottle at the Olympics. Like
I agree.
it's possible.
I was just gonna say, honestly, for her, you have to think it's gonna be very tough to take that spot from her. Anna Pizzetta's never been to a world championship.
Yeah.
She's only been to World Juniors. She hasn't ever competed on a senior Grand Prix. You know, she will next year, most likely, but that's a lot of pressure to put all your balls in, or yeah, your balls in a basket. Is that the right? Yeah, I think so. Apples in a basket,
Yeah.
eggs in a basket. Yeah, I don't know. Put all
Happy
your
Easter,
eggs in
by
a
the way.
basket. Yeah, happy Easter.
Yeah.
Put all your eggs in a basket on for someone when you're that close to being in a team
That's
medal position.
what I was
too.
gonna say. Like I think Italy kind of is, I would say for third, like it's theirs to lose. And I think they need to have
Georgia
consistency.
too, maybe.
Totally, yeah. And but I think consistency is so important, and we've seen more consistency from Laranaki, where with Anna Pizzetta, the jumps, like when they're on, but she hasn't shown that same consistency, and like when it's going to be
And
so
the
close.
program,
Yeah.
maybe not as high quality as Laranaki's.
No, but I love the Firebird for her. I didn't love, was it Avatar for the free? I
Yeah,
didn't love
Avatar,
that, but like I
yeah.
think Firebird was a great vehicle for her.
yeah.
I mean, did we
but I thought
see?
But what were we gonna say?
You're good. Oh, like I was gonna say, it's gonna be important for Laura, especially if she just to maximize scoring potential next season. Like, do we see her getting a triple other than the Toto?
No.
I feel like I think it's big, it's massive, and it gets good GOE. I don't know how. I mean, the Italian Federation can work hard, but I don't know how much they're gonna push her like above. If she got a 69 here with it, and that's already kind of being generous. So I'm like, if we want to get into that 70 range for her, Like,
Honestly, I don't even think it was that generous. I mean, Gabby Dillman's gotten 74s with a triple toe
Hmm.
before. She definitely, I just don't, she's definitely tried the different combinations over the years of what triple to do. And I think the toe is just money for her.
mhm.
Um, I think honestly her scoring could be higher as she
I
gains
agree.
more
I think it should be
consistency.
higher.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, with the built-in, like, I don't think they went with her the way that like I would have at this event, given,
yeah.
but it
Well, I
was
think that
wasn't a season's
also
best for her.
it was a season's best
Okay,
in both
so
programs.
okay.
Um, I think the reason they didn't go higher is she hasn't been one of the girls in the top, like the top Europeans. And
Mhm.
Hmm.
if you want them to go with you a little more, I think you have to put out a couple more results out. I think she needs a couple more really good performances, like on a bigger stage, like a Grand Prix or a couple senior Bs maybe, to kind of get
Well,
the,
she had a Grand Prix medal, no?
yeah,
Hmm.
she did. But she's also a little high and low. Like it's a little
Yeah.
bit up and down,
Right, it is, yeah.
but not as much to the extent as Anna Pizzetta. Um, Speaking of European girls, I just want to say that if I was ever shot into space and then came back with a triple flip, triple toe, triple lutz, double axel, double toe, double axel, like whatever, like triple loop, triple sow, 140 through two, free skate score. Like, I just want to know what type of aircraft was she on? Like,
She, you know,
where
she
did
could have
we
been.
visit?
She could have been with a group of women going to space last week. Like she
Yeah,
could, you
was she
know.
with
I
Katy
think she
Perry
was
too?
there.
Like,
I think she was. I think that like
With
fueled her
Katy Perry.
momentum. Totally. It was her and Katy
Mhm.
Perry. They were like through space, living life, building momentum.
They sung ET together.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was perfect.
because that girl knows how to lock in for the most random competition I've ever seen in my life.
Good for her.
It
Good
was
for
so
her.
good.
Can I say something?
Hmm.
Italy put her first in the free skate.
They did. They did put her first.
They put her first in the free skate. And I went, that's
Wow.
interesting. The Italian Federation.
That's
And a former
also
Russian girl.
Mhm.
that's also
Hmm.
the judge that was banned in 2011
Good.
for overscoring skaters.
Hmm.
So
Checks out.
just
Mm.
if you want to Google his name, Walter Toigo, go and Google. Anyways, I really just want to say for Gubanova, I know that after the devastation of Worlds, like that
Yeah.
must have felt so good. And you could tell that she was so excited after that final double axel. I mean, I honestly hope
Mhm.
that she's able to replicate that in
Hmm.
Beijing or something similar to that
Hmm.
quality. But
Mhm.
um she does have a very nice line, very nice
Totally.
image across the ice when she's
Mhm.
able to hit. And I thought it was really beautiful. And I was very happy for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's like it's one
With
of those
this,
things where you have redemption and like I think we saw that with a few skaters, but that's like worlds that like that would have been tough and to have to go back and then be able to go back home and train after that disappointment and then to put out something like this, like that takes a lot of strength and like good
mhm.
for her. Good for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anyone we have four women left.
Mhm.
We can split it up. We got the two Americans and the two Japanese. Where do you want to start first?
Let's start with Japan because we'll end with the American ladies.
Okay. All right. Alexa, this is your girl. So why don't you take the charge?
So for Monet, and yeah, thank you. I know you mentioned it last time.
Monet, yes.
Monet, yes, pronouncing wrong. So
Mhm.
thank you for that. I wrote down like she has the most gorgeous like fingers and lines. Like she really is beautiful. I love her. She is like one of my daughters.
Wait,
The what?
should we all do it? Are you ready? Should we all
Oh,
do it?
Oh yes.
little hair whipping
I love the
moment.
little kiss and cry reactions that all the skaters
Oh,
did this week. It was so
so
cute. Like that
good.
was
Like
one of my favorite ones.
totally. And like, what a shame about the double axel in the short program. Like, just
I know.
I'm sure that doesn't happen
Oh
very often. Like,
no.
and just
Like
one of
I
those
was
ever.
sweet
so
things.
impressed I was super impressed by the fact she was able to get up and then still hold that edge. She still got
Totally.
up and
I'm gonna
held
get
that
up
circle.
and hold that beautiful back spiral exit landing
Mhm.
like
Like,
for
Just like a perfect.
yeah,
4 seconds.
like nothing happened. And like, I feel like
It
that
was
performance energy,
awesome.
like, it was great. And I, even into the free, I think we've said it before where she can be a bit, like, her face can be a bit timid. And I felt like there was more freedom in the free skate, and maybe that is a bit more of like a relief of like, the season being over and not as much pressure as something like Worlds. And I'm sure just like the team spirit and like having people around you, like just the energy to that, but
Hypes it up.
totally. And it was
And
nice
also relieves the tension.
totally, like, it's, I maybe haven't always been like World Team Trophy, like more fake event, but like it felt like actually
It
like the
was
skaters,
fun.
it felt like the skaters actually wanted to be there and like we're
Mhm.
looking forward to it. So yeah, I think for her, like, yeah, there were some bumps in the free, but she should be proud of her season. Like, I think it's good. Like, she's in
World bronze medal.
world bronze medal.
Who wouldn't
um
be happy with that?
Totally. So I was
Um,
happy with
the
it.
only thing I really have written for her is I would like them next season when they're selecting music to pick something that is a little bit more natural and authentic to her for her expression.
Mhm.
Like the short
Mhm.
program. I thought the short program was really good. That
Perfect.
was
Yeah.
very authentic for her. I wasn't a huge fan of the free skate all year, and I've been very open about that. I didn't feel that it was as true to who she is as a person. But I think they'll figure it out. I think they've been working on what music will
Mhm.
work cohesively for her.
They need to
The
strike
last,
that balance of like finding what fits and also like something that highlights those beautiful like positions,
yeah,
the arm, the limbs that she has. Because I think the Donna Summer is good because it has that slow opening where she can really just like let it breathe and then turn on, the personality like after that halfway point. So
yeah.
yeah, finding that perfect
Yeah,
balance.
I
The
honestly, I
la
kind of disagree. I will say this. I feel like the
Okay.
short program this season was more unnatural and was more of like a vehicle to be used to get her out of her comfort zone a bit. Like, I felt
Mm,
like that actually didn't come natural to her until like more the end of the season. And I would say the free felt more natural to her, more of like a generically lovely program.
lovely program.
But I do think that
Mhm.
the short was a good vehicle to get her out of her comfort zone a bit. Um, and could maybe like help to expand what music choices, going into the season. But that's what I think about
Yeah.
that. But
The last thing I have written down for her is we know she's been working on that quad toe. Um, do you think she'll get
no,
it? I
I don't
don't
think she should do
either,
it
but
because
Mm.
I think that that's something else that's like on your mind. And then like if you're just assuming that's kind of like an automatic fall in the program, it takes away from like the cohesion of a
PCS.
totally, and just like the program as a
Mhm.
whole, and like being able to build on that. Like, I'm sure she probably feels maybe like the pressure from, there will be a Russian at the Olympics next year. But I think if any, like what anything has been taught this season, especially you see somebody like Alyssa or like Cowrie over the years, like by having really solid skating and being able to build up your
Mhm.
momentum and your reputation, that's so much more
Mhm.
valuable than doing
Mhm.
one quad jump. Like, I would just stick to it, but
It does cause a lot of risk.
totally.
I
And
agree.
there can be great reward with that, but putting that in an Olympic season, like if that's maybe that was something like you see with Amber and the triple axel, that's something that's been building over the years, and she's had to build that
Mhm.
consistency, and now it's like, she's able to put it in the
Finally
programs, and
here.
it doesn't like take it away from the program, it adds to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
um but we'll see.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's had such consistent seasons
Mm-hmm.
on the whole for the past, I would say 2 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
really. So I do think that would really ruin the momentum. Remember that one random season? I guess it was like the COVID season that Cowrie tried to throw in a quad toe,
Yeah,
and then it just didn't.
2020.
Yeah, the Matrix
Yeah,
program,
and
right?
it
Yeah.
did not work. And then she like was arguably robbed even after she took it out the following competitions after. I think she got like was it in like the mid 130s
Mm-hmm.
in her free without it, and I think they were just like over her like throwing it
Yeah.
in. I don't know. So
She also wasn't Japan #1 at that point.
No.
She was kind of in the
mm,
Wakaba role of you're not #1, so we're not going to give you the full boost. But yeah. Speaking of her, Miss Sakamoto,
Yeah,
Did you
let's
see
get
the
into it.
article that came out today that said she might be going back to Benoit or going to a different
Well, different
choreographer?
choreographer, which I think
Right.
is great. And she talked about it too. I actually just saw it came out. She said something about like the more like probably more like the tango, whatever, like those more like hard hitting movements are more difficult for her. And she actually wants her programs to focus more on her skating skills, which like great.
I think that's correct.
So, and that's so strong, right?
Right.
And like doing what you know and what works for you. And like, I think maybe the past few seasons of programs haven't been everybody's cup of tea and they haven't felt natural for her.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who she goes with. I'm excited to see her music choice.
And going back to your comment that she said about the tango, you can kind of compare the parallels to the Chicago. A lot of beats that you have to hit throughout that program. And she's just a little too sloppy sometimes in her ability to hit them like with a preciseness that I
Mhm.
think that's why we've seen more mistakes. I think because she's so focused maybe on being so precise throughout both of the programs that she'll sometimes get a little lackadaisical in some of like the combination jumps or the spins or
Mhm.
I think it might have just been too much the having two programs that were so stark and different than what she's been used to, I think is something that can
Mhm.
cause a lot of issues for the skater. And I think that's why you've
Even
seen people dislike the content as much.
Yeah, even my friends who were watching, like who don't watch skating, who were watching with me, they were like, her like arm movement and choreography to Chicago seems like labored. It seems like she's really like thinking about it and like
Thinking.
forcing it go in there. I mean, and let me ask you this: Is what do you think Marie France is putting more energy in toward? Is she putting more energy toward a singles free skate or her ice dance politics? And
Well,
or
I
her
think
ICS programs. Like, I think she has a lot of her plate, and I mean, Marie France has obviously put out some brilliant programs for us, but I think that
I think
she
that's the one
yeah, I
that
do think
she's
it's
ditching.
totally,
yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting, like, but I do think it's different when you're working with somebody every day versus going to someone in the summer for programs and maybe getting touch-ups once or twice a year.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm excited to see like, and speaking of which too, like with her, like she said she's going on vacation with Wakaba.
With
Like
Wakaba, yeah.
I love that. I feel like that'll be fun. Like I think everybody needs a vacation at this point in the season.
Yes.
Everyone's a little
Yeah.
tired.
I
I
have
know
that
that
in my notes. Everyone is tired.
everyone's a little tired, which like I get it. I know there was some discussion about like, oh my God, Cowrie didn't win PCS, like Alyssa won PCS. We love Cowrie. The free program was messy. A lot of things that were tight, some wonky landings. The PCS difference was 0.07 between Alyssa and Cowrie. Like it wasn't much. It was basically virtually tied.
And aren't people on Twitter like saying that World Team Trophy scores are fake anyways?
Yeah, like I think we all know that. So, you
Yeah,
know, I
I think
think
we're all
yeah,
kind
and
of
then it's
getting a
like,
little when we get to Amber too, we'll talk about
mhm.
that in a minute, but I think people were overreacting to a lot of things that were happening here at World Team Trophy. Um, the final thing I just had to say about Cowrie is that I think, in all honesty, I think this should be a very good upcoming season for her because I feel like she's gonna have a renewed energy for
Mhm.
her training this
Mhm.
summer. And for this new season, I mean, it's an Olympic year. She just lost the Worlds. She's had people say that her programs are not good for the past two seasons. I mean, when you have all those things coming together, I'm sure that she's like not sitting at home being like, oh, I'm so sad. Like, I'm sure she's like, I'm going to prove these
Yeah,
people wrong. Like, I'm
totally.
going to show
Mhm.
you, I'm going to like make a program that was better than I am a woman, like,
Mhm.
Yes.
so
Tough to
She
beat,
is a
but
woman.
he is a woman, and like I think having that mentality of like that fighter mentality, and that's like
wants to
putting
be a
going like
diva.
totally like we don't want to be a diva down, we want to be a diva up, and like going into that Olympic
Yeah.
Mhm.
season, like going every day, showing up the rink. If you have something to prove, that is gonna like so much more encouragement than like, oh well, I'm like a 4-time world champion, which like not if she would say won this year, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I think it lights a fire under you, and I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
It's best case scenario for her and going
I
into
do
this
too.
next season, I think for sure. And it's gonna be I'm so excited to watch it. Like her, Alyssa with like this new like found energy and confidence, and I think and
Yeah.
Amber ready to. I think she has a fire lit under her.
Yeah.
Jia Shen coming going senior. I think that this is just be such an interesting women's field in general. But
And with that, we're gonna pause to take a break for a minute, guys.
okay.
Sorry, guys. We needed to take a break for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, now we're gonna jump into the Americans. We had Amber and Alyssa. Where do you want to start? What do you want to start with?
I think let's start with Amber. I mean, I think.
And do we want to start with the Twitter controversy?
I mean,
Because people thought that Amber Glenn was being dropped by the USFS after the short program, where we had a triple axel that was under rotated with the fall, a triple flip double toe, and a potentially slightly two-footed triple loop, and a level 3 spin, and our spins that did not have great GOE, and 2 mistakes in a short program.
Yeah, I think that, don't get me wrong, like I was also thinking like, okay, what would be the team event for next season now, like going into this. Listen, like if you put out a program and you skate the way you skate, you're not going to be getting a 70 for that.
Yeah.
There were obvious mistakes, but I think that, contrary to short, you look at the free skate and
is underscored a little bit.
And totally. But I do think she was in the first group, right? Like if she had been in the last group, I would argue she'd be over 150. She still got a PB.
Would have been.
Totally. And she still got a PB by like close to 4 points. So yeah, but like also similar to Gubanova, like kind of that redemption skate for her. Like I'm sure she wasn't feeling super great.
Felt great.
Yeah, like she went out there and like that's a way to end the season.
Absolutely.
And did you see on Twitter, she said she was skating with like dull blades, like super dull blades, and was like just trying to clutch up on like every single edge jump. I'm like, you know what? She did the triple Salchow with like the most dull blades she's ever had in her life.
But
like that's kind of iconic. Yeah.
You can sharpen your blades.
Well, you know what?
Unless,
I think she's one of those people that is like so particular about her blades. Like, Amber Glenn.
Sure.
I get that. There also could be like the argument if, say, like her blades, there was no sharpening left.
Maybe she didn't have anything.
Like maybe there was,
blades,
and I get that. Like totally get new blades. But if it wasn't that situation, like you do know, like typically, like how many hours you skate, how often you get them sharpened, like that is something you can like plan and know.
You're just trying to make it work, budget friendly.
Sure.
Right. Yes.
Sure.
We're saving money like $10.
Like a $25. Sure. But good for her. Like she went out there
and skate was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
The last thing I have written down for her, which is kind of a little bit of a to be or not to be. Are we going to do the second triple axel, or are we not going to do the second triple axel for next season?
I say no.
I say no too. I think that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, if we're just now getting our first clean free of the season, I don't see a reason to put it in. And like the short was the money program, and now it's like the one that we're like, okay, we got to think a little bit harder about. And I think also, we saw that like her components weren't as high as I think some people might have thought, and I think they're really ticking for the shaky landing on the Sal, and if we have 2 axles and one of them might be squirrely, I think that we're saving a little bit on PCS if we keep the second out. And I think I don't know, I think that the PCS a little bit was kind of justified. If I'm watching her program, like it is a lot of, breathing room. I know that she, set it up that way on purpose to mentally focus on each element.
Maximize. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, which is totally valid. But I think looking at it like from like a components and composition standpoint, like you can tell she's in the zone and not really giving you that level of performance that I would say Alyssa was.
Mhm. There's not the same
Yeah.
level of freedom, but yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't do it. Like I think the same thing we said about like with like Monet with that consistency, like that's so important, especially with like scoring. Like if the judges know you are going to be reliable and hit, like your GOE is going to go up, your PCS is going to go up, building that trust amongst them. So, and I also think maybe like this could have been the opportunity for her to like I think we saw that with some other skaters, like in the men's event, like trying new elements potentially
Yeah,
for the
Adam.
Olympic. Adam, Memela. I think for her, like the confidence of building consistent programs over the season, like next season, is going to be so important. And like going into something and like knowing you can hit it versus will I, won't I, that sort of thing. I think just I wouldn't do it, but I'm
Yeah.
sure her and her team have her own plans. So
And switching women now to Alyssa, she also could potentially add the triple
mm-hmm,
axel in. Do you
mm-hmm.
feel the same way about her before we dive into her performances here?
I well, we saw her like doing them during practices at Worlds. And I think for her, like trying those maybe at like summer competitions or like challenger events prior to the Grand Prix, like
Would
that
be
could
smart.
totally. And like if that's
Mm-hmm.
something she wants to do and that's something she feels confident with, I do think she has, because she's the world champion. She's put out another great performance at World Team Trophy, winning it here. I do think she has a bit more wiggle room and a bit more freedom to, if say like the first element isn't great, but then like nailing the rest of it. I do think she has that same
Mm-hmm.
a bit more wiggle room than say somebody like Amber.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it'll go back to consistency and what's going to generate the best programs for her.
And Alyssa, if you're watching and you're trying to decide what summer competition you would love to go to, the Glacier Falls figure skating competition in July, always a great watch. We would love to see you there if you want to
It's Nolan.
go.
It's Nolan's
So
favorite event. It's no.
it is
It's
my favorite
Mm-hmm.
event of the
favorite.
year. My favorite, more than Worlds, more than any skating event. I love, 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 love. Anything else about Alyssa? I mean, she really did her job.
Good for her. Like,
She's just, I mean, it's just the story that keeps on giving.
oh
Like,
my god. And
Yeah.
like just like the freedom and how she skates. And I will say this, I'm a hater of gold dresses because I think they're not often done well and they can look like
Mm.
tacky and cheap. Hers is gorgeous. Like that is how you
yeah.
do a
Hers
gold
works for me.
dress.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the energy and like that short program is going to go down as one of my favorite short programs of all time. Her and Josh Ferris, like I just, it was beautiful and like, oh my god, I love her.
I think
I
that
just love her.
I love it. I love her program so much, which makes me a little nervous for next season, like to see what she's gonna come up with next. And I want it to be her. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think that since these were inspired by her own self, that I want the next to be the exact same. And I don't want her to feel pressure to produce something like that again, because I think that these came so naturally. Um, so that has me a little nervous because I don't want her to get, or her or anyone behind the creative process, any of her coaching team to get in her head about like is what has to be done next, because
And can I be 100% honest? I don't think that she gives a
I think
shit.
she'll I think she'll tell him
I
to
think
F off
she's
and she'll
gonna
do what
do,
she
I think
wants to
she's gonna
do.
do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
yeah, I
And I
hope
don't think the
so.
coaches are gonna get in her way either. I think her
No,
coaches are on her.
I
They
think
seem
her
like they all have a very healthy relationship.
I think they let her
Hmm. No,
lead.
I
I
don't.
think yeah.
Mhm. Which
Yeah,
is
and
what you
I
should
see what you're
do.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I see what you're saying. And I guess speaking for myself, like that's how I would think about it. If I were to make something, have that such a moment like that,
Mm-hmm.
even if it was on my own, I would myself would feel pressure like, okay, how do I recreate this
Totally.
or make it better for the next season? I guess I wasn't trying to say that her coaches like
No, no,
are
no, yeah.
No,
done or
no,
correct.
no. But I
We
think
get
like
that.
Right.
yeah, and I think
I
growing
just
up
don't think she
too.
has pressure.
No, I
Okay.
think she is so I think she's very secure in herself, which I think is why we love her so much. Is because she's
Mhm.
just so authentically herself and does what she wants to do, and she kind of steers the ship, which I think in skating you sometimes can get
Don't see
built
that
up.
at all.
No, and you
Yeah.
get so focused on doing what others expect you to do versus what you actually want to do. And so I think that's like what's so refreshing about her is she's like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna like, and it's gonna be great. And yeah, like good for her. Another what the hell moment. She got 150. Like awesome, amazing.
Ugh. Okay, swapping up. We're gonna switch disciplines. We're not talking about the men right now. We'll leave the men for last. But another bit of a shorter event, only 6 pairs. We're only gonna really talk about like 5 of them. But the pairs event here. Where do you want to start? We want to start with FMOVA.
Yeah, let's start there. I think
Yeah,
in general, like also like 5 out of the 6 teams are like some of the top 5 teams in the world. Like this
I think
event,
all of them finished in
yeah,
the top 10 at Worlds, except
yeah,
for the Japanese pair.
It was a
Or no,
good
sorry,
event.
the
the
French.
French, yeah.
The French.
It was great. Like, and I think, or not, I'll say this. It was the event that was exciting because you didn't really know what could happen because a lot of things could happen in terms of placements. I was like purposely, I had my Easter on Saturday. So I was like, I'm staying off skating Twitter all day. I don't want to know any of the results. Like, I want to actually watch this. And yeah, I think with Alyssa and Misha, a
I
little
think it's a
underscore.
little bit of a, I think they're
Yeah.
coming down
Mhm.
after what would obviously have been an emotional and physical
Very
endeavor of Worlds for
Mhm.
them. And I think honestly, it just highlights how disappointing it is that they won't be able to go to the Olympics because they're such a unique and special pair that we haven't seen something like that. That little je ne sais quoi about them that like a lot of pairs don't have nowadays. And I would argue that like none of the pairs at this event had it. What they have, none of the pairs have that intangible
It
quality.
was classic look, you know. And
And
I would have had them ahead of Deanna in the short.
I agree.
I think that they had the better
Yeah.
material. I think they skated better. I think I would have had them, but
yeah,
I'm sure
And-
the lack of eligibility for the Olympics has something to do with how they're
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think they are kind of that team that's like just kind of emerging as, you know, they weren't favored to win nationals. They did doing well, especially in the free at Worlds. Like I think they're coming out of like maybe a lower tier group in pairs and they're kind of emerging as becoming more not necessarily favorites, but like moving up in the ranks. I do think I agree with like that little like je ne sais quoi. They have such a reminiscence of like 90s pairs teams, like very
Yes.
classic, very like beautiful. Like she's so expressive. Like, oh my gosh, I
It's
love
just
her.
it's a fresh
Yes,
breath.
you feel something like when they're running and holding hands. Like,
You're like, wow, like
oh,
that's pure
yeah.
like skating.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I love that they're kind of the people and people's prince and princess like on skating Twitter too. Like everyone
Yes.
loves them.
I love
We all
her.
love them.
Yes,
We also love our girl Deanna Stellato,
of course.
first off, getting a Laurie Nickel program next year.
Parabens.
Good job,
Love.
girl.
That's a
Good
win.
for her.
Huge win.
I also feel like she has said in previously before that like she's like even like the end when they won Worlds last year, she was like, oh yeah, we already know what our Olympic programs are. Like I think she's already had this planned since her comeback. Like she is a girl on a mission.
She's a long game type of girl.
Totally.
She's
And
so smart.
oh God.
She's
like,
brilliant.
So smart. Obviously maybe not the competition they were looking for. I didn't even realize in the short program when I first watched it. I was like, that's kind of low. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize she doubled it because in the camera angle, you just see Maxime.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had to go back and rewatch. I was like, oh, she did double it.
And in the long, I think he doubled it in the long.
And she doubled this out, which I think is hilarious because as soon as they finished, she goes, I doubled this out. Or she said, I popped this out. And I'm like, oh, she's got that like Megan Duhamel in her that's like,
she
analytical.
She does.
And I get it.
Who else does that? Oh gosh, it's the Russian girl. Oh, I just lost her name. It's with the two blondes. They now are under a Terry.
Oh, Galiama?
No, they're
wait,
military
no.
the other
now.
one,
Oh,
Kozlovsky.
he's
Kozlovsky and there's
What is her name?
redhead and the blonde. Yeah.
Boykova.
Boykova, yes, she does the same thing. She always like throws up numbers. She's like, I did a double, and I like it's so funny to me whenever she does that. But
But the throw loop and the throw sow and the long were like +4,
Some of the
+5
yeah, they're
best
quality.
money.
throws I've ever seen her do. And maybe that's like there's not as much pressure. She does tend to like put a foot down or like step out like she did in the short.
Girl,
Yeah,
if
they
you can
were
get those side by sides like together, you're back in the
yeah.
game.
Yeah, and like for
Mhm.
what they did, like with 2 pops, 134 is not bad. And
No.
like, and you could tell they were like pissed in the kiss and cry. And again, I think that's one of those things that can be used as fuel. This season obviously probably wasn't what they wanted it to be. Programs weren't the best, but I know you love Ocean. Like Ocean
Ocean was
Oh my
good.
gosh.
Don't hate on
Um,
Ocean.
but
I could use more of the bubble sound effects personally. I kind of like that
some
Yeah,
more
stuff.
I
whale, some
wanted
more whale
more.
calls,
I
I
want
I
get
loved the
more.
whale calling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Can I make a blanket statement?
yeah.
Sure.
Can we please ban sequences from the free and just in general
For
for the
pairs,
pairs for the pairs? I don't care
for
about
the
the singles. I
pairs.
think
The
are
singles
working
I'm
for
alright
me,
with.
but it is just it's a mess. It's a mess.
And I think especially on the axles, they tend to get rappy. Like
Mm-hmm.
they step
I
really
don't
into
need to
the
see a pair
circle.
team do 3 jumps
Listen, Nolan and I
together
the
in
other
a row.
night were watching, what was it, 94
Gordieva
Olympic?
and Grinkov,
They won the Olympics with 1 triple. And you
one
know what?
triple.
Gorgeous.
They deserved it.
Gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Like,
I still did like Dimitrov and his partner though.
I didn't, oh God, that was beautiful.
Good.
I'm like,
It was so good.
so good. So yeah, I agree. I would have had them maybe behind the Americans in the short, but I think this is a great, like, again, she's a feisty girl. I trust her. I'm so excited to see what like Lori creates with them. Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
You know who I kind of got behind this event?
Do not say who I think you're about to say.
The Georgians kind of did it for
Oh
me.
my God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've
Can I-
been on the I get it. Like I get it. I know their skating is what it is. The elements just they had
The elements are great.
fantastic and
Very good elements.
I was just buying what Metelkina was selling. I think I really like her. Something about her. I don't know what it is, but she has that the short program, I don't know what that but I don't know what that is supposed to
Yes.
be,
I'd
but
rather watch
the
the short than the
hood.
long.
Really? I could
No, the
just
hood is
watch
too
her
much.
and those long arms with like the the Stevie Nicks kind of sleeves going on.
But like,
oh, I'm here for that.
I gotta
I'm
say,
here
in the
for
free,
that.
he looks like a doorman, and she's like a vampire.
They're
And
not
then
in the
like,
same program.
and then at
Yeah.
They're
one
not in the
point
same
they're like
program.
rocking a baby, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. In the same
Oh,
music,
did they do the
where-
skipping still?
I don't know. I gotta be sorry. I probably zoned
They
out.
used to do
But
like a little like skip like jump rope
Sure.
hop at one point.
Sure.
Like
I will say this. I wrote down, I was like, I want them to do sophisticated programs next season because everything they do is really tacky. But they do have great elements. So like I feel like her throws, like their throws are gorgeous. Like that throw flip, like beautiful. And like
the edge out of that is just insane.
yes.
And she's
And
tall.
yeah, like and
The
maybe
line
it's
is
because
just everything.
yeah, I think they still read very junior, and obviously like they were competing junior for half the season.
Right.
But I
one
want to see them.
competition.
Well, yeah, true. That's very true, actually. But I want to see them do sophisticated, grown-up senior programs because, like, they could be that dark horse threat that comes
Or
out.
silver.
I was gonna say bronze because I would be like, I don't know. I
They
think
get good programs.
I think
yeah,
the pairs, I think that's the most wiggle room of any discipline. I think
I think it's the most interesting
Mhm.
because there's so much like we don't know about Russia, we don't know about Sui and her program.
Oh yeah, we saw her programs.
I didn't love it, but I just think
Oh, I
there's
didn't
like
see.
there's a lot of big players that could
So
be
we
in the
gotta
mix,
find out where
Yeah.
they're gonna fit in.
where they're gonna fit, and like
Mhm,
the
mhm.
Italians, like they really impressed me at this
They had a
event.
great,
I haven't
they had a
like
great event.
Super clean.
super clean. Like they're short. I was like, when she lands the loop and she like does this like clap, I was like, yes, like that's great. Like they're sharp and like they could so be in it. And like especially building being at a home Olympics, like take that momentum, throw out the jumpsuit, like get rid of that. But like
But yeah, that's no more.
we don't need that. But they really impressed me at this event. Like I can pick up what they're
They
selling.
were very sharp.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese, not as sharp as the Italians, but they do have that skating quality that is head and shoulders above everyone.
Totally.
So I understand the placement.
Yeah.
They
Their
also
speed.
kind of have a cowrie to them a little bit, like where they're a little sloppy, very powerful, very wild, but very exciting when everything goes well.
Right.
Yeah, their ice coverage and like I even noted like their speed is
The
incredible.
speed is so
Like
so fun to watch.
insane. I will say like when I was watching their short, their side by side spins was actually probably one of the most impressive things. They were super super close. They were so in sync. I was like, I don't think I've actually ever seen a side by side spin that well executed, like for a pairs team. Something I wouldn't like normally like I'd be like, oh, like kind of a smoke break program or element, but like it was great. They're free, like some I think like there were some pops and whatnot, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do next season.
Well, I mean, while the Italians have like that clean cut presentation, I think that they're like the energy that they bring is so like it's just like raw and genuine and natural, and they feed off of each other. And I think that's what makes them the most fun for me to watch. I really like. I think that their short program this season was fabulous.
Yeah. I thought overall the pairs event was nice to watch. It was like a nice entry to like a nice introduction to the event. Yeah. So we have our final discipline, the men. Speaking of Italy, let's talk about our two Italian boys, Mr. Memola and Mr. Grassel, both with
Mr.
layout
Face Card
changes.
Memola.
Get him on it, like get him on a Gucci campaign. I don't know, make him the fate like the poster child for the Olympics. Do it. Whoever his agent is, like
again, my
Mr.
friends watching the
Flip.
women's my friends watching the women's event were like, who's that in that kissing cry? Who's the Italian boy back there? So
Mr. Quad Flip, Mr. Quad Lutz, Mr. Quad Toe in practice. He's landed that quad flip before. I've seen him landed at practice at Worlds. So it's definitely in his capabilities of doing it. And I think it was good for him to go out and try this. I think he's thinking long term and he knows these scores are fake. So I think he's a little vulnerable for the Olympic team, just a little bit. I think Matteo, if he locks in, could overtake him. But I think it'll be very close. I think he knows how to peak.
Yeah.
He knows how to peak when he needs to.
When he needs to. Yeah, I think he's very smart. Like I think he knows what he needs to do. I think just in general, like those two spots for Italy is gonna be a bloodbath. I love Matteo, but like Daniel Grassel, like what we saw in the free, when he's on, he can like do those quads. Like I thought his quad loop was like, I'm like, oh, that actually didn't look really cheated.
I thought it did look kind of
cheated. See, I was like, oh, it looks better.
What did they call it?
I thought it was at least, they called it clean, but I thought it looked like at least a Q.
Well,
the Italian judge put him first in the free skate, by the way.
Sure, yeah.
Well,
Walter Twigo, the one that got banned.
Yeah, again, him and Gubanova. Yeah, but
by 16 points, mind you.
Well,
I also said I thought he actually had really nice moments in his programs. I think his skating quality sometimes is a little unesthetic, but I thought that there were some moments of skating in his short program that I actually really enjoyed. He's a nice spread eagle. But yeah.
The free can go. That's fine. I don't
think that the free was ever a work of art.
No, we can't they can't be saying to point your toe when you have a flexed foot, you know, like it's
Yeah.
fine.
But
Doesn't work.
yeah, our Italian boys were good. Our Frenchmen were messy, but that's how we expect the Frenchmen to skate.
But that's why we
though.
love them. Like
And that's
I
how I
think,
prefer
Yeah.
it, quite
yeah, of
honestly.
course. Like it keeps things exciting. I think
Which one do you want to start with?
I feel like for
Kevin.
Kevin, yeah, like team captain. I will say this. I think
Yeah.
him being team captain was actually really good for him because I know mentally sometimes he can get in his head quite a bit. And I wonder if him having to like lead the team and not like be more concerned or worried about the others was better for him to not be so in his own head. Like I'm so impressed with his free skate that I know he popped those first 2 quad toes and he did the triples, but I think in the past
He
maybe that
changed
would
the
have
layout too.
jarred him a bit. Like he had to totally rethink the program. You know, add in the sow. Yeah, I was like so impressed with the mental strength it would take and like the gymnastics you're playing in your head of like, oh my God, I just did these first 2 jumps. That's a repetition. Lost a combo there. Now I can't do another triple toe. Like,
Need to switch out the triple toe Euler triple sow at the end.
like
Mhm.
respect.
He's grown a lot. I'd say him and Amber Glenn have made the biggest mental strides this season.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think he's the only person that should be allowed to do a cartwheel in skating. Like I think
Agree.
Yeah. Sorry, Jason.
Well, if you do the cartwheel into like the sit position that he
yeah, and the
does,
sit,
like, that's,
Yeah.
he can do that. It's
yeah,
like because it's intentional.
works.
It's not just like for a bullet.
Yeah.
So another
Yeah.
person who likes to like sit on the ground.
Right.
We got our Dune program coming back to life. There were some moments where he maybe needed to come back to life a little bit more during the free skate. I think
He
like
did his best.
he's apparently
He
really
came-
broken. Kevin
I
said he's like,
know.
I'm like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Kevin
yeah.
said like Leia's sick. Don't know about Lorene. Adam is like
just
injured
broken
all the time.
Yeah, like quote of the event.
That second quad toe on the music and the Dune free skate is so good. Like it's my favorite part of his that and his knee slide in the short program were all fantastic. He really does love a quad lutz where you're like maybe
Hands down.
licking the ice with your face like on the landing. But he does have that intangible aura. He kind of has that little like Efimova.
You can command
them.
it like it's you want to watch him, you want to see what he does. He's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like let's just like maybe put him in like a full body cast for a few weeks, put him on an island, like just
he added every single quad.
yeah,
by
like
the way,
I was like,
too.
I don't know, he did
Lutz in the short, did the flip in the long, did a sow, like as a 6. Wait, I think it was like the second to last element was a quad sow.
Instead of where the Axel normally is that he fell on at Worlds, like
yeah. He took out the second triple axel too.
Yeah.
Which will be going in that triple Lutz Euler triple sow at the end.
Crazy.
Yeah, let's pray for Adam, guys.
Yeah.
That will be what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 quads and 2 triple axles.
Sure.
That's definitely an Olympic medal if he can land it.
Yeah, but you got to do it. You got to actually do it.
Is this just like throwing the kitchen sink in the last program of the season just for
especially
fun?
when you're
see what works.
So injured, like I don't know. Sure, decisions were made.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
someone who also maybe didn't have the best skate. Our boy Yuma. I'm a little worried.
Yeah. I know you said that he had made comments about him going into it knowing that he was able to make one mistake and how that can be a really poor mindset when you're going into a free skate.
Totally. Yeah, he made a quote saying, yeah, I knew going into the free I could make one mistake. And I'm just like, and I'm sure he was thinking about like the flip or whatnot, but
well, why did he put the flip in the short?
I wonder if it's
all just trying to get ready for next year.
Yeah, and I think he feels this like this, he can only compete with Ilia if if he has all
Ups
these
the
quads, which
ante.
like totally, and like and we'll get into it, but like you don't even need to do a quad to almost beat Ilia.
Right.
So
Well,
like
like just even the short, like he had a 106 at Worlds, no?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then Ilya had a 106 here with, just a little scratchy flip. So
Mhm.
I think it's still anyone's ballgame. I really hate that that's what it's come to, is that we have to be
Yeah.
like, let me up the technical ante, but
Mhm. I just want to like give him a hug and be like, you're enough. Like you are enough and you are loved and like go like you are a beautiful skater and like hone on the things that like you're so good at and like I want him to like believe maybe do some of like the mental work that like
right.
Amber's been doing
Yeah, but get a
or
group
whatnot.
session with Kevin and Amber, and he'll
Yes,
he'll
like we could
have
do
him
like some
have him
group
sit
therapy.
in.
We could do some group therapy. Like that'd be great.
Mhm.
But yeah, I will say this though, in his free, I felt like in the step sequence, I actually saw him really come alive and like really express in his face, which we haven't really seen from him as much. And yeah, maybe that was more of like a relief moment of like, okay, this
Mhm.
is not like in actually projecting, but I saw that in him and I'm like, oh, I love that. Like the crowd loves him. Like when he first starts that step sequence, he does this like inside twizzle that's like gorgeous. But yeah, I just like I love him. I think we're all rooting for him and we all want him
Mhm.
to believe in himself the way that I think we all do. Um Also like let's put him on an island, have a nice vacation. Um but yeah.
Let's let him just relax and
Mhm.
look at what we're gonna do next year
Mhm.
and try to figure it out soon. So,
Mhm.
all right, so we have three men left that we're covering.
Mhm.
The two Americans and Mr. Roman.
Oh
Mr.
right.
Roman Sadovsky, I thought it was a good season for him.
I do too.
I'd like to see more speed and ice coverage to
Mhm.
kind of enhance the performance, and that will also up his scores a little bit. I don't really have a lot to say about him other than it was pretty good. But the one thing I do have to say, and I have two questions for you guys. Basically, one question is, how do you think the two additions of Wesley and Stephen Gogolev will factor into who will get that spot next year? Because I'm sure Gogolev will be healing this summer, getting ready for the fall. Wesley Chu will be coming back after an injury took him out of pretty much all this season, other than the beginning of the fall.
Mhm.
Where do you think those two fit into Roman and how that'll play out for the one Olympic spot?
Well, I think if we're looking at body of work, obviously, Roman has that leg up, but is it body of work just because the lack of other people stepping up to the plate, right?
Yeah.
So technically, I think they both have at least like what, a quad toe, or I mean,
All Wesley and Gogolev both quad toe, Roman does quad sow.
So yeah.
And
right.
Wesley, or sorry,
So
Gogolev, I think can do loop and sow as well.
okay, and is Gogolev still with Raf?
He's back at the cricket club, or not the cricket club, the Granite
Granite,
Club.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so I think so. Technically, I think that like if we're being objective, it is anyone's ball game. I do like Roman skating. I think he
Mhm.
has such a finesse about the way he approaches his programs. He has a musicality and sensitivity and timing that I would rather watch over the two other boys as of right now. It's just about him putting it together, and
yeah.
it's going to be tough. I think for all.
Mhm.
I think it'll be interesting to watch all three of them for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that the second half of the season for him, I'm sure felt like good mentally. Like he can be a bit up and down, but I think here he put together two pretty solid programs and like he popped the first sow in the free, but like being able to come back and put out a pretty solid program, like that's got to help build his confidence heading into next season. I do think it's interesting. I kind of forgot about Gogolev, to be honest with you. I also think it's worth
Well, he hasn't been
mentioning
there.
he hasn't been there. But I believe Anthony Parody is also going senior this season. And I think he's got a triple axel now. He had like posted something about it. I don't think he's like the same front runner.
He's not relevant
But
for
I
the
still
Olympic
like
spot.
Love
But we
him.
love his skating.
I love him so much. And I think like that'll be really good to have him going into the next quad. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, Wesley comes back and how he has been, recovering and what his programs look like. Cause I think his short program this season, like, was pretty
It was
good.
very nice.
Yeah. And with Gogolev, I really do think it's anyone's game. I think it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this feels like a good like mental win for Roman. And like, again, like one of those situations where you're building yourself up and ending the season on a high note to like really fuel that for next season and to feel good and confident. So yeah. It'll be interesting.
Jason and Ilia, both of them coming out here, doing their job, performing very well. Jason basically said, "Don't ever doubt me ever again." And he said that I will be doing the Olympic team free skate.
And I will be getting like
and I will be getting that gold medal.
And that is a fact. And that is a fact.
I literally wrote down he deserves an Olympic gold medal. Like
he will be getting it when he does that free skate.
Totally. He could have won the free skate. I will say this. Like if he didn't pop that sow, could have been.
Score?
It was pretty close. Like it would have been
179.33 versus a 183.88. Yeah, that's 4 points.
Only
right
one
there.
judge put him in first. And that was the Georgian judge.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you, Georgia. Diana Davis. Ilia, not a lot to say. I think he's just going about his business, doing his skating again. I mean, there are a couple mistakes, the double sow, falling on the spin, the double flip, but
do you think he was going for the quad axel? Because like, or was it just the triple? And
no, I think he was doing the triple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was still, and I think he still got positive GOE on it. I'm like, no, it wasn't that, but reputation.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was doing the triple. I don't think he was doing a quad axel or world team trophy, but I think he has a lot to show for this season. It was a great year. I'm excited to see what he does next season for his programs. I do want him to do something I want him to do a lyrical program next year for the long. I really loved his tribute program at Worlds in the free skate or the exhibition. And I think that it would be so beautiful to see. And I really want him to skate for another quad too, because I really do enjoy his aura and his star power.
I think he will.
And I think he will too. I think he really enjoys it and loves it.
Yeah, I think he's talked about like kind of, being compared to like other huge sport figures and in other sports and disciplines and stuff. And I think for him, like, barring any injuries or things like that, I think he's got it in him. Like, I think, he's got this aura. And I also think like he brings to the sport more like outsider perspectives, like having those fans for him and creating that momentum and that like going viral. Virality, sure. I don't know. But yeah,
it seems like a real word.
Sure. Okay. Cool. But yeah, I think he'll go, and he's obviously the favorite heading into
the word.
It is. There we go. Look at that. But yeah, I think he's definitely the favorite heading into next season. I think it's kind of his to lose. Not putting pressure, but I'm sure he gets enough of it. But yeah, I think he fell out of the spin at the end, but
who cares?
It doesn't matter.
We're tired.
We're so tired. We are so tired.
And with that, the 2025 season comes to an end.
We did it. We survived.
We survived. We only did 3 episodes.
But we'll have a lot more coming.
But we'll have so much more this summer. We have ideas, guys.
We have ideas. And if you guys have any ideas, put them in the comments.
Feel free. Or we have an email now too. I probably should have said that at the beginning, but I have it linked in the comments or like the description box below. So feel free to send us an email.
What do you guys want to see from us? Like, we're heading into the Olympic season. It's so crazy.
Ideas.
Like that a year from now, less than that.
10 months.
We'll have
9 months.
We'll have new Olympic champions.
Think about this. And a year from now, we'll know the world champions too.
Yeah. And like retirements, like it could, this is the last
And
season. We're going to see some people.
Grand Prix events will be coming out in probably like a month and a half.
Yeah. Usually it's
Oh,
like
that'll be
mid
that's
to end
It's
of
always
like
like
June.
Christmas
Yeah.
in July for
Oh,
me.
it's the
Yeah.
best.
HSN,
Yeah.
QEC, like
Yeah,
yeah, that's all we have today. So go again, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, leave a comment below. Happy belated Easter to everyone, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. Thanks for joining.
bye everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.